Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Awaken to Happiness Now Global Series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. If you're new to me, new to my show, new to my channel on YouTube, please do subscribe and follow so that you can stay in touch with all of the current shows, all the shows coming up in the future, all the previous shows. There's so many, so much wisdom. It is my deepest desire, wish, and intention to bring forward to you all these wonderful speakers who are sharing their wisdom, their teachings, their experiences, their processes, their healing, their activations, etc., so that we can all thrive and so that we can awaken to happiness now. So today, my dear friend Brooklin Rayne is back with us, and we're so glad and happy and excited because it's going to be a powerful high vibe call for sure. And we're going to be talking about diamond clarity codes with Brooklin. And the some of what we're going to discuss, of course, what are the diamond clarity codes? How can we apply them to assist us in our daily lives? What are the different templates that we hold within our human energetic system that are holding programs of duality and polarity? How can working with the diamond clarity codes assist to bring awareness to these programs and dissolve the programs? So we're going to talk about all of that and, of course, so much more with Brooklin. And if you don't know Brooklin, like as she has been with us before, it's been a little while. It's been a busy time, but she's back with us again today. And so we're, like I said, we're so excited. She is a Christos resurrection guide, a quantum field interpreter, and diamond breathwork and plasma flow ceremonial alchemist. And through her diamond channel, she is able to interpret the quantum fabric of one's unique energy field, inclusive of the physical, mental, emotional, and spirit bodies, bringing to light and clarity the awarenesses and insights that are most desired to be known and explored through one's set intention. As a clear channel of direct source communication, Brooklyn connects with your highest self to further interpret and bring into clarity what is in the greatest alignment with your current path of life, the soul blueprint. The pathways of self-realization that are opened up through her holistic approach invites one to create clarity, peace, presence, compassion, love, abundance, and spaciousness within all facets of life. And, I'm excited because this is going to be, it's all about the clarity. And I know we're all going through so much right now. We're in the middle of the 8-8 portal. So there's a lot of energies, a lot of transition and change happening in all of our lives, I know. And so just the topic alone today of the diamond clarity code is like, oh my goodness, we really need this. So I'm so excited that you are here with us, Brooklyn. So everyone, please join me in welcoming Brooklyn to the show. Brooklyn, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, so excited to be here. I just realized my head's cut off. Sorry about that.
It's all good. No, it's all good. So it's been a while, and the audience may not know exactly who you are, how you work, your story. Do you want to just take a few minutes and just talk about your story and how you became to be a healer, a resurrection guide, etc.?
Yeah, sure. So, well, I guess I'll just say about 10, 12 years ago, like so many, right? I kind of reached what I like to say, surrender point. Everything on the outside looked, great on paper. Everything on the inside was like, it's time to wake up. And so, through literally surrendering, throwing my hands up in the air, saying to source, universe, God, okay, I surrender. Show me how I find, a greater place of inner peace. I heard a voice audibly say, it's time to meditate. And so it took, a little kicking and screaming and a little self-pitying to still take place after receiving the message. But soon into that, soon after that experience, I began to meditate and everything started to shift slowly, but surely started to shift. And there was a series of really profound meditations and experiences that came through that really awakened me into a greater trust and surrender and kind of confirmation, if you will, that there's so much beyond our what our mind thinks is at play here, and so much beyond, the illusion of our experience here. So that led to then, synchronistically to finding out about breath work, and and someone came into, at the grocery store of all places, right? And hey, how's the meditation going? And have you tried breath work before? And I said, isn't that what meditation is? Oh yeah, but you got to try this breath work. It's unbelievable. And he shared his experience with me. And I said, okay, you had me at breath work. So then I dove into the breath work, and wow, so much was taking place. I hadn't had a great level of specific remembrance of childhood and things that had taken place during childhood. Some bigger things, some fun things, right? Things that children typically hold on to, in remembrance of. But generally speaking, not so much. But then through the breath work and my intention of becoming inner peace, or finding inner peace, right? All these movies started playing out, like, and I was, oh my gosh, okay, yeah. And I was seeing all these patterns releasing, and just really profound things taking place. And I was all in at that point. I had no idea where I was going. I had no idea really what I was doing, other than surrendering and following that, the inner voice of higher self. And at that point, I didn't even know what a higher self was, or anything really. I had grown up in a very traditional, organized Christian religious background. And so I hadn't been expanded and opened into all the different layers and depths of what is accessible through spirituality and other philosophies. So I was just following this inner guidance and this trust and this knowing that I had reached my critical mass of suffering within. And so then that led to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And I was a chef at that point when I first began to awaken. I had been a chef at that point for, I think, close to 20 years. And and really at the pinnacle of my career, and everything was moving smoothly and way of that. And soon as this took place, it was like, we're redirecting, and the more and more I was releasing self-limiting beliefs and all the victim programmings that I had so beautifully cultivated within my belief system and my experience, more and more space was, being created, more and more peace was coming in, more and more clarity was revealing itself. And then I just, I knew it was time to take that leap of faith and courage and follow that inner guidance. So I slowly, not even really slowly, it was really a pretty insignificant amount of linear time, transitioned out of that, out of my path of being a chef, and began to take some courses and things, and holistic health coaching. I felt like that was a nice bridge. It made sense. It felt a little bit more comfortable. And so that's sort of how I initially transitioned out of being a chef. But then, in my daily participation of meditation and breath work, and, more and more was being revealed. And so then I became, I took some courses in breath work, and then just started to creating what started off as a business called Mindful Eating, Living, Breathing, and I'm thinking, okay, people know me as a chef, and that's probably, how we'll start our journey together. And, I have all this information and, passion about food and nutrients and things like this. And so as I started that journey, I was really very surprised, because people, okay, we touched on that a little bit, but they wanted to dive right into, the beauty and of peeling away the layers of emotional and mental programs and traumas and so forth, that, because a lot of them already had the awareness, and a lot of people already do have the awareness, fruits and vegetables, colors, life force, and they had, but they weren't able to apply them, right? they were finding roadblocks and different programs and sabotaging programs and so forth. And we're having a hard time creating the access to consistently participating in these different healthier lifestyles, etc. So that just kept building organically, and I kept diving in, and I was, a lot of us, we know, right? As soon as we start to wake up, we're like, we have an insatiable hunger and thirst for like just learning as much as we can. So I had stacks and stacks of books, and I was just reading and like couldn't get enough. And and then I was synchronistically, I just kept getting guided to take this class or workshop and this and da. Yeah. And so it really wasn't until about 2 years ago that I kind of got the 411 from highest self and source, like, okay, now you've explored what's out there, and now let's bring it in and fine tune even more, that your direct connection, if you will. I don't know why I always point up here, as we know it's right here, right? And start to dive into the greater depths of what can be, cultivated, remembered, and accessed within. So, there's so much more to it, right? It's funny when we try to capture our journey in just a few short moments, but that gives a little bit of a perspective. So everything changed in my life, right? And very quickly, and to the dismay and or confusion of many family members and children. My children, I have 3 boys, and but they also came in kind of with a higher and greater knowing. They were like, yeah, we've been waiting for you to wake up, Mom. So so
nice. But that's what happens, right? It's kind of like, it just starts and then it keeps going. And then at some point you're like, okay, I've learned enough that I can learn. I've read enough books, I've taken enough workshops, I've done enough. Okay, now what? And that's when it's about us working with source, our higher self, to start to consciously create our lives and get on the path that we were meant to be on, in a way. But that feels right in the moment. So for me, it always is about divine timing as well, right? And so until you're ready, until you take some steps, until you started doing the breath work, until you did these workshops, it's kind of like that was the foundation, right? Or that was the bridge between your old life and your new life, right? Your more awakened state, I suppose you could say, right?
Yeah. And then you come to a place, daily, where I recognize I know nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's a fun place to get to too, because then you have greater access, to the infinite streams of the everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And it creates or cultivates a lot of trust and faith in the unknowing, in the unknown and the unknowing, right? It's like that surrender and that trust and that faith in the surrender and into the what is, and that everything is also perfect as it is. It's like there's nothing that we have to do or that's right or that's wrong. It's like it is what it is in the moment, and you go with that, and then keep taking those steps, right?
Yeah. Beautifully said.
It's a journey that we are all on in some way or the other, right? And so it's also trying to find those moments of just laughter and joy and fun, like I was saying earlier before we went live, that this weekend I was in the Boston area with family, and I hadn't had fun in almost 5 years, as some of you know. But we did our own type of Olympics. I think they called it beer Olympics, but that was not really it, because we weren't really playing with beer because there were kids and everything, right? But we did all sorts of wonderful sports that all levels of athletic ability could do. So the little kids, the younger adults, the older adults, the people my age, older, and all of us, right? And it was so much fun, so much laughing, so much joy. There was a bit of crying from my nephew, who doesn't like to lose, but he has to learn how to lose gracefully. But it was like amazing, it's like, oh my goodness, we're gonna have to do this again in 4 years, right? Do these Olympics again. But it was that bonding and that family time and that just letting loose and being free and not caring how you're jumping, how you're running, or anything like that. It's just about, well, let's face it, some of us in our family are very competitive, including me. Right. So it's like, I don't care how I look when I'm running. I'm just gonna run as fast as I can to get to wherever I need to get to, right? It was so much fun. But that fun is something that we also need on this journey, that sometimes we take this journey and path so seriously, right? And when you're able to have a little bit of fun and joy, that can also bring you more clarity as well, right? So the clarity comes because you're not hooked on, it has to be this way, it has to be that way, like it's so serious, but instead your energy is able to flow in a different way, and you're able to then receive more of those divine codes and guidance and insights, um that your soul is kind of like waiting for you to just relax. It's okay, enjoy life. That's why you're here. You're also here to enjoy, not just to be serious, right? So I just want to share that quick little bit, because I know some of you know I was away this weekend and everything, and it was fantastic. I had no time to do any work, to be honest, right? So I'm a bit behind, but that's okay. I'll catch up. But sometimes you need that fun. You need that laughter, you need that joy. And like me and my three sisters and my aunt, who were all around the same age, we took a picture of the four of us and we sent it to my mom, and she's like, "Oh, my four daughters all together. I love it." And it was like, it was those moments that you know, treasure, because you see the connectedness, you see the relationships that, even though there might be some fighting and arguing, whatever, the love is there, right? And that connection is there. And being playful with each other, it goes a long way to healing relationships, but also changing a relationship in some way than what it used to be, or what you think it is, etc. So all your perspectives can change when you are in a playful mood, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Is play is so important. I don't play enough, I know, but every 4 years, but maybe we'll do it every year instead of waiting for four. But playing with children, especially, I fell in love with my niece. She fell in love with me. She's like not even 2 yet, but oh my God, we have such a bond. It was so sweet. And she, of course, brings out, all that love in me that I have, that I don't often get to share, or express, because my kids are also grown up, and all that stuff. But it was a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I got to see my son in a different way. I mean, he is so smart, and he is so kind, and he's plays with the kids so well, and he takes care of me, and like his cousins. And I mean, I was like, oh my God, I did good. Oh my God, he's such a good boy. I did good. Yay. But it's all him. So it's like, it was so wonderful to be able to see, because he's 30, right? But it's good to be able to see how your children are growing up, and how, what wonderful beings they are on their own, right? So it was like, it was a wonderful weekend. So I'm happy. So, but at the same time, this gave me so much clarity and insight into my children, my daughter as well, right? And my son, and how they're growing up, and how they are also, even though my son is not into spirituality or woo woo, but has such a big heart. He is so caring and so loving, and he cares about people in general and humans in general, right? So I was so proud, and it was like, this was good. And he cares about me, so it's like, oh, what a good boy. I'm an Indian mother, right? So when your son does anything for you, it's like, he's my baby. So it's just, yeah, I'm gonna get emotional, but I'm a happy mom today, or this weekend. So it was nice.
So
And
beautiful.
even when we're on the spiritual path, we have relationships still, right? We are still, working through these relationships, and we have these relationships. We are still engaging in life, but sometimes the engagement with life has to include some more play, because we need it, right? So, what do you think about play, Brooklyn?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Love it. Absolutely love it. And, as you're sharing, there's just such a beautiful flow of joy and softness that is brought into our experience here. And I love that you bring in, we don't have to take things so seriously. And I have to say that has been a message, that has been beaconing quite loudly through different meditations, and for several years now, gets sprinkled in, thank you for the reminder, right? Because, we get so focused, and we want to, we're so excited about our devotional paths, and, assisting others and coming into greater self-realization, and, and we can take ourselves so seriously, and we can, and it can really almost feel weighted at times, especially if we find ourselves, in a system of energy that, something really big comes up to the surface for us to let go of, or for us to have greater awareness around, and the energetics of that, feel kind of heavy. And, and I love how high self and the priestess come in to remind us of, the potency of childlike laughter and joy and innocence and curiosity, right? When we can take any situation and really just drop into our hearts and open to greater flow of curiously exploring it, and and bringing that playfulness into it, and laughing at ourselves and with ourselves. So much can take place in way of alchemy, right? There's so much more space, because really, and I was feeling into this as it was dropping in as you were speaking, I don't know that the thinking mind has a real and true access to the infinite nature of joy, right? How I see it and perceive it, and how it's been shown to me is, joy is a consciousness field, right? It's a pure source consciousness field that's ever growing and expanding. It's a living field of sound, plasma, and light, right? And so far beyond any linear construct, and certainly that of what might be sort of held within the definition, or what could be accessed through the mind. And so many of the things that you were sharing are such pillars of the dissolve of separation, right? When you were speaking about your son not being really woo-woo or spiritual, but being a very, heart-centered, loving, caring person. I mean, everything's spiritual, right? Everything's spiritual. Yeah. And here on the physical plane, everything's physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional. It's an all one participating field of different, layers of energy, right? So to your beautiful experience and sharing, one of the great access points to receiving greater clarity absolutely comes through our ability to drop out of the mind and into the heart, to drop into, the flow of joy and curiosity, and letting go of, sort of the tension and the fight or flight and the fear of not getting it right. A lot of times, we stay in these systems of brain fog or confusion, or we feel like we're sort of circling, we're a plane and we're circling the landing strip, right? Over and over again, trying, beating ourselves up, and, we're wanting the clarity, but forgetting, perhaps where the greatest access of that where that stems from, right? Which is, okay, let me just drop into my heart and remember, the beautiful consciousness of breath and light, and in the different ways, way shares and pillars of source that are here that we can participate with, to gain access to that clarity. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the times that we're in, especially right now, I know a lot of us are looking for more clarity. We're in a lot of transition. There's a lot of people who are in the unknown and feeling that brain fog, and it's like, I don't know which way to go. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's next, kind of thing. So can you talk a little bit about what the diamond clarity codes are, and of course, how we can access them and apply them in our lives so that we can live in more joy and peace and abundance, and etc.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to say it's this really complex system, and you have to do this, and this, and this. Actually, I wouldn't like to say that, but it would make it maybe a little bit more interesting. But really, you know, the diamond clarity codes are part of a massive system of creational fields that of plasma, of light, that have always been here and present and holding space for the earth and humanity, and all of the inhabitants within and upon her and beyond her. And in recent times, you know, specifically and potently within this system of, I will say, from about this spring equinox, and really again heightening once more during the summer solstice, and now again once more in this big system of energy we're in now, and will continue just to evolve and expand in its access to us. These diamond fields of creation are coming into greater and greater and greater bandwidth of participation here. They come in through, from my vantage point, they come in many ways, and really accessed and flowing through the solar plasma frequencies that, you know, participate with us here. And so the clarity codes have, again, always been accessible, but yet not to the degree in which they are now accessible through all these different windows of astrological alignments, and, you know, the if you will, the greater dilation and recalibration of the galactic center and how it participates within, you know, our universal system and the earth and so on. And there's so many different levels of participation within it. So they came into greater reveal, I would say, really starting within about a year ago. They began to come into meditation and really reveal themselves more and more. And when I say themselves, you know, it's a field, right? Again, it's similarly to the pillar or the consciousness domain, if you will, of joy. From these diamond fields of creation can be accessed really all of the higher pillars of vibrational bandwidth that we most attune to or connect to in our desire to experience more of, if you will, such as abundance and joy and peace and compassion. And you know, how I see it as a system of 33 archetypes of the unified field that thread through all of creation. And so when, you know, at different points in time and at different access points throughout our ascension process here, we will have the opportunity to be reintroduced, if you will, and in greater access of some of these pillars, maybe more than others. And so it was, again, about a year ago that they started streaming through. And, you know, and really, I asked similarly, well, how do we participate? You know, how are we meant to participate? And of course, there could never be one answer to that, because we're all unique, you know, and we all have our unique pathways and blueprints here. But really, it can be as simple as, and it has been, to, you know, to connect to the access of this streaming of pure diamond white clarity, of plasma clarity, and bringing in a mantra as simple as I am immaculate clarity. You know, I'm calling forth, calling in, showering through and around with these diamond clarity codes. And I began to participate in this way. And I was amazed by how quickly the recalibration and sort of this beautiful level of presence and groundedness and recalibration was able to take place. And really, the clarity just streaming in and through. And, you know, the mind at first is like, you know, okay, maybe it was a one-off, right? Maybe this was just one meditation and I didn't, you know. But the more and more that I found myself calling it in and, you know, calling it through, breathing in the clarity, letting go and releasing, you know, anything that created that was dualistic or polarizing to the clarity, it was happening. more and more and more. And there's a level of, it's so palpable. And with the clarity, of course, comes everything, from my vantage point of these 33 archetypes, within the clarity are all other, the other 32, and vice versa. So, with greater access to the clarity comes greater access to the peace, to the love, to the joy, and everything else that we're desiring to embody more of. And, we're a divine intelligence, right? Our physical bodies, our mental bodies, our emotional bodies, our spirit bodies, as they were intended to work as a one unified field of participation, as we know through all the different layers and levels of this wonderful and masterful system of human existence we have here. Those systems began to work, with sort of on their own, right? Being scattered and perhaps taken out of the unified flow of participation. So, the more that we bring ourselves, into centeredness, into desire and declaration with this clarity, the more that all the bodies begin to attune to that, right? The clear connection, the unified connection, that fluid unified connection becomes more clear and more clearly participating. So then I started to recognize through my own journey with it, that the divine intelligence of our bodies are able to turn back on, and to really participate, in the divine symphony that they're meant to participate as. And so I was witnessing how, that divine intelligence met with these clarity codes were beginning to, I was witnessing how it was prioritizing. If there was something within the physical body in particular that was a priority, that's where the clarity was, coming into greater participation with. And if there was something, emotionally stuck, so there's so many different ways to work with it. And if one were to become overwhelmed with maybe some of the streams of consciousness that flow through in our questioning today, because there is a transmission beyond the words, of course, as I know we all are familiar with, right? It can be as simple as, creating a field of pure, nourishing, showering, immaculate diamond clarity all around us, dropping into our hearts, taking some nice soft breaths, and really, allowing ourselves to get clear with our intention and how we desire to participate with it.
I love that. That is so amazing. And at the same time, so simple. Like, it really truly is about our intention to participate with the codes of clarity, as that's how it's coming through for me. But those codes of clarity are going to allow us to then have more awareness of our different uh, bodies, for sure. But also, from my experience, it's going to give us more awareness of our different patterns that we are living through or functioning from. And at the same time, once we are able to recognize them, then we will hopefully choose. I don't know. I guess we're going to choose what is for our highest good and what works with us right now, and seeing what doesn't work with us and allowing that to dissolve. And so the allowing of the dissolving of the patterns, how I was gonna say, how easy is that, right? Is it just a matter of our intention to dissolve those patterns, or is there something else involved? I know I've kind of gone a few steps forward, but
Yeah, no, we're not linear here. We can follow whatever rhythm we want, right? So yeah, I love how you bring that in, because the clarity is, we can, it kind of works in stages, right? So as we call that in, we're trying to solve something, right? We're trying to solve something big, and the mind's trying to go to one direction with it, and it thinks it knows, where the path of greater clarity is revealed. But then when we drop into our hearts and we start calling it in, the mind dissolves. That's another beautiful aspect of this diamond light, and specifically, this diamond clarity, is that, we can't access its greatest revelations and awarenesses from the mind. So it brings us and funnels us into the heart, because it's really from the heart that, where we're able to access this, right? We think about it and we talk about it as being something, out here and coming in through the solar plasma frequencies, but that's also still running through that lens of how we perceive ourselves physically. And really it's accessed within our heart. We can, imagine ourselves being supported and showered and ignited by it. And really it's, our greatest access point to it is right here and always has been. But so as we're flowing in and we're dropping into our hearts and we set the intention and we're desiring the clarity, many other things may reveal themselves that, and the mind will try to come in and participate in it. Like, wait a second, that's not what I asked the question to. So it's in that moment, right, where we get all these awarenesses that drop in, that we have it's a choice point. It's a choice point. Do I, go back to the mind to try to unravel and unwrap this present, of awareness? Or do I drop deeper into my heart? And this comes full circle back to your beautiful sharing. And do I drop back into my heart, dissolve all conclusions, open up to childlike curiosity, and really begin to curiously explore the different facets of the awarenesses that are dropping through, right? Knowing that there's no wrong or right way, and that, and that we have the space and the grace and everything that we need to be able to further unwrap the mystery of it, if you will. So I feel like one of the keys is through the awarenesses coming in, to then even open our hearts even more, expand even more, and, get neutral, get curious, start to explore. And then, as we do that, what are we going to do with those awarenesses, to your point in sharing, right? Are we just going to simply have the awareness? Or are we going to take that awareness and are we going to take it to the next step of participation, and actively participate? Maybe the awareness comes through that, I'm holding on to this judgment right now. What's creating all this chaos and this cloudiness and this confusion in my life right now is that I'm in judgment of the experience in the situation. So the clarity comes in and it shows, how judgment is creating the roadblock to the greater resolve, or, where you want to go with, move through it, right? So what do we do at that point? Well, we can contract with it. We can kind of toss it to the side. We can participate how we've always chosen to participate, or we can, then bring in some more clarity. Okay, how can I choose to respond differently this time? What is it that my highest self and the clarity and this awareness, what is my greatest, access point to alchemy, to creating change within this, right? And the answers will come. The more we allow ourselves to just remain in that soft and curious exploration of it. And, and then we can use our tools, breath, right? Movement. Some people really find that they create a lot of inner alchemy, with movement or different modalities in which you've practiced. So we can marry, our participation with calling in the clarity with, with our other tools that we have in our tool basket. And if one says, I don't know, I don't have any other tools, what do I, I don't know, what do I do with it? We can simply breathe and, and release from the bodies, right? I'm releasing all judgment. I am free of all judgment. I am immaculate clarity, or I am, pure clarity. I'm releasing all judgment. We will find our pathway with it, right? If we get playful and, and sort of neutral and curious with it, everything reveals itself. But even in the alchemy of the clarity itself, many things become resolved, and sometimes we don't even have to do anything beyond just calling the clarity in and accepting and surrendering into the awareness. Sometimes it's just in that moment of, okay, I accept. I have been in judgment of the situation. I open my heart to releasing this judgment. I recognize that I no longer desire that, right? And poof, so many things take place. Yeah.
I love that. That is so true. And, a lot of times that's all that is required. It's just the awareness, and then it's your choice to surrender or accept the situation. And that will change your energy and dissolve that pattern right then and there. I've found that with myself, because I'm willing to have it be that simple,
Mhm.
right? It doesn't always have to be complicated. And this is also, about, for me, the biggest thing is being present, but not in the mind, but being present in the heart, being present in the body, being present in the moment, and then seeing, perceiving, being aware of what's showing up, what's coming up in the mind, in the emotions, in your environment as well, right? In your relationships, etc. Seeing what's coming up, because that is going to show you, um, and give you more insight and information into what is actually going on with you in your life, what you're perceiving, how you're responding, etc. Because you have to be present in order to be aware, right?
Yeah,
Because if you're not present to the
absolutely.
awareness, you're just in your head basically, right? All the time. So for me, the key of presence is key. Like, it's absolute. You have to be. And then of course acceptance, right? Acceptance and surrender. And I always say that I'm not very good at breathing, like deep breathing. I'm not very good at that, except for when I'm doing healing work. When I'm healing, doing healing calls, etc. There's a lot of breathing happening, and it's happening naturally and normally. And for me, that is a way of shifting the energies, moving the energies. That whole. It's so it's key. It's also important because with the breath, there's flow, right? And flow of energies, flow of frequencies, etc. But also the flow of uh, getting your mind to move, getting those thoughts to move,
Mhm.
because sometimes we get so stuck in what we're thinking, or our pattern of thinking, or our way of thinking, that we don't even recognize it as a hindrance sometimes to what we would like to experience.
Yeah, I love it. And I noticed in the chat, someone said, oh, I'm horrible at breathing. And I'll say this, I was horrible at breathing too. And I remember that time, that back at that point when I was, heard the voice of the source say, it's time to meditate, and then I learned how to meditate because I had never meditated before. And I was like, oh my gosh. And the funny thing was, at that point in time, I was running marathons. I'm like, so
Mm.
how is it that I can run a marathon, which clearly I must be breathing, right? But but yet now I'm sitting here with a focused, intention, and I felt like I was having such a hard time breathing. So what I always say, to people that have had that challenge or a resistance or haven't found, the graceful pathway and sort of union with breath yet is, it's challenging until it's not. And the way that we find, should we desire, right? And of course, everybody has different levels and layers of resonance and desire. But if we allow ourselves to be patient, and we allow ourselves to really let that breath come in and share with us and show us, where we're being guided to soften more, where we're being guided to open more, where we're being guided to surrender more, um, everybody eventually will cultivate a deeper and more expansive relationship with the breath, because the breath is just, when we're having that hard time breathing, it's, the breath is a multiversal consciousness field. It's a pure unifying source field, right? It's threaded in our earth experience here through everything, right? It's we hear the breath of life, right? The breath of source. And so the breath is a divine ally, and the breath is literally showing us where we're holding on to tension, where we're holding on to resistance, where we're holding on to fear. And so when it butts up and we're like, and wait, I can't even bring it, it's like, oh, okay, let me try this. Let me dissolve into and as the breath. Let me let go of any and all, programs of I can't breathe, or I'm failing at this, or and all the stories and so forth of the mind, and just listen to the breath. And what was really helpful for me is imagining the breath as an ocean, a really soft and gentle day at the ocean, where as you're breathing in, the waters, the ocean waters coming back, it's retracting, back into the hole, and you're breathing out, and it meets the shoreline, and you're breathing in and you're breathing out. And it may even be helpful to listen to that, kind of, because there's so many beautiful recordings of water, and, and cultivate, and allow it to help you surrender, right? And I have to say, I'm celebrating in how you most connect with breath, because I agree. Breath is such an amazing conduit, and it's so helpful. It allows us to, to bring in these frequencies of, let's say in this case, diamond clarity, or bring in the frequencies that you bring forth in your sessions and your sharings with other people, right? It helps to keep the energy moving. So yeah, I know those of you who know me know that I cannot say enough things about the potency and the alchemy and the divinity of breath, and how it's here to assist us. And breath plus intention, how it equals profound inner alchemy, right? Cellular and cellular alchemy. Yeah.
I love that. The cellular and cellular alchemy. I love that, because through the breath we can get in touch with our soul, because when we are focusing on the breath and breathing, we're not in our head, right? So we're not in the mind. So we can actually touch in and tap into our soul and our heart when we're actually focused on breathing.
Yeah.
So that's powerful. I love that. I'm gonna have to remember that cellular and cellular. I don't know that's all I got. So as you've been speaking, of course, you are transmitting frequencies and codes, because I have noticed for myself that I have to really stay focused. I can definitely feel the changes in my energy field as you've been speaking, as we've been having this conversation. So there's much more expansiveness, and it's more of for me, more of like a meditative space and state during this whole conversation. I don't know if anybody else has felt that for yourself, but it has been quite powerful, so it's like, yes, okay, good. I'm not the only one. Awesome. So I just wanted to mention that for those of you who are experiencing that yes, it's normal, it's all good, it's all fine. And then just as a reminder to everybody else as well, to just be in your heart space, be willing to receive, and just allow yourself to be, so that you can receive the frequencies and the codes in this moment, so that you can have that, again, more clarity. More clarity brings more awareness of what is, right?
Yeah, I love that. And one thing I wanted to touch on with that is, and you already have in what you've shared, is not only does the clarity, because it's infinitely faceted, right? It's an ever expanding, just like we are as the unique fractals of source that we are, right? We want to constantly learn and create anew and expand, and we're infinitely curious and infinitely creating, and as is this massive pillar of unified consciousness, represented as clarity, right? So not only does it meet our intention of gaining greater awareness and clarity on a given subject or relationship, or whatever it may be, but it's also clearing us simultaneously, right? So it's clearing out the minutia. It's taking into consideration, into direct consideration, what our deepest intention is, and it's working with us. So as we are gaining that greater awareness of what we're desiring to gain awareness of, to get to that place of pristine awareness, of diamond clarity, right, is for the energetics of it, the alchemizing energetics of this light, to clear out all the things that are creating the non-clarity. And so what you might be feeling right now is the divine intelligence of that field of energy, of that diamond clarity, moving through your bodies, releasing dis-ease, discordance, discomfort, illusion, fear, suffering, and right? All of those systems that have kind of taken us further outside of our heart, and into all the different frequencies of chaos that are around us.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, and like I said, it's been has already been such a powerful session. I've lost my dog. He's gone. But I want to just take there's so much more to discuss, of course, and experience throughout this session. But I just want to take a few moments Brooklyn, if it's okay to just talk about the package. It's quite simple to talk about it, but we'll do that, and then we'll come back and talk more and see what else we want to do. And one of the key things that I like that you keep talking about is like participation, right? So we are always participating in and engaging in the energies, frequencies, the codes around us, right? So it's not always about the doing, but it's like, how are you choosing to participate? I love that. It's like a different way of being and different. It's like, yes, it's a choice point, but it's about, I don't know, doing was always so heavy, and then participating in life, participating in these energies and frequencies and codes, it's such a, I don't know, it's a higher vibe uh, energy and way of being. So I just love that. So I'm gonna share my screen. So let me just get to the proper screen for a second, and then I will share my screen and we'll talk about the package, and then we'll continue on with our conversation here. Give me 1 second here. Participating in first choice. Yeah, I love that. Yes. Yeah, definitely does. Okay, I think you can see my screen, right? Right, so Brooklyn's package is the Diamond Clarity Code, 6 weeks of recorded transmission. So basically, it's regularly 177, so on offer today for 99. So there's basically 6 recordings that are full of transmissions, like we're kind of experiencing right now, but probably more so because it's just going to be Brooklyn. It's not going to be me as well. So there's going to be a lot more I want to say heavy duty stuff, but um more light, more codes, more energies, more frequencies, more balance, etc. So I'm going to let you explain this package, Brooklyn.
Yeah, thank you. So, in the experience of these recordings, each week we touch on a different sort of system within the totality of our system, right? Week 1, we're clearing the physical body. Week 2, we're clearing the mental body. 3, the emotional body. 4, the spirit body. The ancestral body template in week 5, and the collective body template in week 6. So each week there's a sort of a conscious converse. Well, it's actually one-sided, I suppose, because I'm kind of sharing different insights that channel through to how we can access the greatest clarity within, let's say, for instance, week 1, the physical body, right? So there are different things that come through, practical ways in which we can participate and cultivate deeper relationship with clarity in our life and with the Diamond Clarity Codes specifically. And then after that portion of each recording, we go into a very deep meditative transmission. And there are certain breaths actually that were introduced, different breaths of clarity that were introduced within the 6 weeks that are tools, that one can choose to participate with or not, regardless of whether you choose to participate in this, in the practices of these particular breaths. You're going to receive a lot of energy and transmission to meet you in your clear intention. So really the only thing that is encouraged for you to show up to these 6 weeks with is a clear intention and an open heart. And from there, everything else will unfold and reveal itself. So there is a lot of content and great ways, practical application for bringing these codes and working with, and participating with these codes and sharing these codes in our lives. And then the meditative transmissions that we go into, a lot of them are, about 45 minutes plus long. And funny enough, most people, I thought we were in there for 5 minutes. So you really do get taken into a deep place of 0 point, right? A deep place of access. We get brought into a very beautiful and nourishing, pure source field of intelligence, of grace that holds us in a place so that we can have the greatest level and opportunity of getting out of the mind and into the heart. So 6 weeks, there's no particular order in which one would need to follow. You may choose week 1 first because there's likely some introductory conversation and things like that take place. and then you're guided and invited, to work with them as often as you want. You may find that, your greatest calling, and I would just encourage you to trust, in yourself and your knowing that, you're meant to work with the physical body transmission, every day for X amount of days, right? Or, and every time you come and you meet these transmissions, you're meeting it from where you are in that now moment. And as we know, in every now moment, we're evolving, we're expanding, we're tuning to different octaves of our most, exalted expression of divine self, perhaps, whatever it is, whatever direction we're moving and evolving. And so every time you come to meet these transmissions, you'll meet it anew. You'll hear things, you'll receive things, and you'll experience things that you did not experience, in your previous engagement with it. So it's a living consciousness field that you could come back to it in 4 or 5 years from now and experience it anew, because you're going to experience it from wherever you are in your conscious evolution, right? So it's a potent, I will say it's a very potent 6 weeks. These transmissions do encourage one to create integration space afterwards. So wouldn't be a great, until you begin to really gain a deeper relationship with it, I would say you would want to likely engage with these recordings in a way that you create some space afterwards, space to go outside in nature, to ground, to connect, or space to take a little cosmic nap, perhaps if necessary, right? Lots of hydration. So even before you go into participation, if you're feeling in resonance and this is something you want to do, really maybe even take a few days prior to beginning your journey with it to consciously bring in greater hydration, because they're going to run a lot of energy. You're going to let go of a lot of density. You'll find yourself, you may even find some light detoxing things taking place, within the experience as well. And that just depends on where you are on your journey. If you tend to have a sluggish lymphatic system, or you haven't been doing a whole lot of things to nurture your physical body, then what I would say is, set up some things that can be assisting in the integration process. Maybe you do an infrared sauna, or you take a nice salt bath afterwards. But yeah, so seeing this as an opportunity to create more of life as a ceremony and life as a conscious level of participation, versus kind of going in and coming out. I feel like the most will be received of the experience, the more that you kind of create the space for yourself with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always recommend, even after calls such as this, to go outside, ground, to get a little bit of sun as well. That was always helpful. Drink water and listen to your body, right? So, so Brooklyn's package is, again, like I said, $99. There is a payment plan available. And of course, if you're an Inner Circle member, please use your gift code. There's some wonderful testimonials or feedback from people who have worked with Brooklyn, of course. So please check those out. Again, they're on the page. There's a much more detailed bio of Brooklyn on the page as well. So please check that out. And again, like I said, it's $99 with a payment plan. And of course, if you're an Inner Circle member, please do use your gift code as well. Awesome. Thank you. And like Brooklyn said, this is something that you can use over and over again, do it over and over again over many years. It doesn't matter, because it's wherever you are in that now moment when you are engaging with these calls, with these recordings, right? Yes, the calls are not live. There are recordings. Yeah, so you will get access to all of the recordings for sure. All right, let me just see if there's any other questions about the package. If you have any other questions about the package, let us know. You can type in the chat if you'd like, or just ask away. Let me just go back to my go back to my page here. 1 second. Okay, let me just go back to my page where I was. Awesome. So I just want to check and make sure that we are, what else we want to talk about? We want to talk about, yeah, the next few months. So we are now in August, right? So what can we anticipate in the next few months energetically? Because, not talking politics, but of course everything else. Like what is going on with us? Are we, going to be, because it has been so up in the air. Everything has been up in the air, right? And nothing is going to slow down. I get that because it's like it feels like everything has been so intense for so many years now, right? But is there a way for, like, is there going to be some sort of, I don't know, revelations that we're going to receive, clarity that we're going to receive, so that we can move forward with our lives in more peace and grace, and with more clarity, and like on purpose? If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I feel like, um, there will be nothing outside of us that will, just magically attune us to that space of what you just described, right? And yet there's everything within us, and more that's being supported and coming in and through within the different, dimensional planes, to support us in absolutely finding those spaces within. So from my vantage point, and from daily practice, and how I'm continue to receive the 411, if you will, on how to get to more and more places, an embodiment of, becoming the 0 point, because that's really what I hear you saying in it. Like, how do we become that place of such divine harmonics within, right? That place of unity within, that place of union within, where no matter what's taking place out here, we're a part of it. We're in acceptance of that. We're in embrace of it. We're in some level of participation of it. And yet, we're fully, the eye of the hurricane, if you will, right? The 0 point. So, from my vantage point, it's really just cultivating as much as we possibly can in everything we do, right? In everything we do, creating life as a flow of embrace and unity, and creating life as a meditation. I have 3 teenage boys, lots of different, spokes of the wheel that are turning, right? And people will say to me, like, oh, how do you turn it on and you turn it off? And that must be. And of course, yeah, there's been all sorts of levels of experience on this journey, with all the different facets of life, and ways in which things are participating. We're all on different paths, and and I just kept hearing, and I continue to keep hearing, create every moment as a ceremony, right? Create every moment as a meditation. Bring your full presence in every moment into a place as as the witnessing observer, right? Curiously observing, where can I where can you, high self, saying to me, right? Where can you let go of any and all levels of participation, and seeing things as separately, as this is spiritual, as this is not spiritual? Because really, at the mixed into everything that's happening right now, right? This like the silly putty of the human experience, that we're experiencing right now. I feel like the true access to the peace and the calm and the joy and the abundance and all the things that, the love and the compassion, is through, really allowing ourselves to become that neutral and witnessing presence, right? The observer of it, right? Coming out of all levels of participation and warring within and warring without. And easier said than done, as we all are experiencing, but it becomes, even if we even allow ourselves to, coming back full circle again to, well, why isn't it easy? Or why do I not perceive it as easy right now? Well, because I'm the chooser of my choices and the chooser of the lens of perception. And I'm going to choose to witness this, through joy. Right. I'm going to choose to witness this through the flow of grace and ease, and just recalibrating and reshifting, our lens that we're participating through, even if our bodies are screaming out and different things are happening. If we have the courage, and sort of the dedication, and the desire to bring it all kind of to that place, right? And use a little breath or whatever we need to do, then everything else will eventually attune to that, right? And so it's like everything else. And we wish it were an easy way. We wish it were like this. And for some people, they've had that in their blueprint. And, I honor that. For the rest of us, it's a journey, not a destination, right? And so it's like, okay, so it's patience and showing up consistently and participating and practicing our, all these tools, right? Taking it from intellectually understood and accepted and yeah, I know, to participating and practicing it daily so that we can embody it, right? And that's the key. Taking it from here, bringing it into participation and into motion so we can bring it into embodiment. And all of the energies that are so huge right now that are really shaking the tree, right? Shaking, everything, all the twigs and the, the leaves that, no longer serve the tree's highest vitality, highest, presence, right? We could see that as the collective right now, and everything that's, no longer attuned and in alignment to our highest desired expression of collective ascension is coming front and center right now. So, the more we can find our Jedi tools of creating life as a meditation, I won't say it's effortless, because that would suggest, almost like, a non-participation in it, but it is flowing, and it becomes more and more and more abundant in all the things we most desire to become abundant in. And what I will say is, and to your knowing and to your wisdom, Shefali, we are in a juicy system of energy right now, right? We're feeling it. For some of you that are super sensitive, you've been feeling it for weeks now, right? And we're going to hit the sort of the most potent presentation or participation of its energetic vortex of this 8/8 portal, as of course we get closer and closer to the actual linear date. And yet we can feel it already, and it's already, coming into, inviting us into its potential and its potency. And from what I can see, energetically within the quantum fabric, right, is that this brings us up yet once again, to a new access of potential of growth and expansion and anything we desire to participate with us as. And then that becomes our new norm. So there's not a crescendo and a, right? It's a crescendo and now this is our new foundation. September looks like an opportunity where it still holds the potency of this. So each of us, as we know, have a unique astrological blueprint and numerological blueprint. And so where we get the greatest access to its potential and the lessons and so forth is unique to each one of us. So it's not going anywhere. It's still here. When we enter into September, we're going to see, we're going to feel a level of spaciousness, however, where we can take all the wisdom, so in other words, it's a marathon. Right? We're in a marathon now. We're in the ultra marathon. It's not a sprint. So allowing September to be an integrative system and a recovery system, but still in the race. We're still in the flow of actively, participating in it. Right. So some people will have it in their blueprint to really kind of go in and, into solitude during that period of time. Others not, right? We all crafted our life and our blueprint uniquely. But really there's a beautiful sort of tending to our inner garden, tending to our outer garden. We've moved into a new space. We've moved into a new floor of the penthouse, right? And now in September, how are we going to arrange, the newness of it? How are we going to integrate that? How are we going to ground that? There's also a huge, like, we come out of this massive system of transformational and transparent energy of Lionsgate, and on the coming into the sort of a greater system of grace of September, that creational energy ignites again, right? So it's not that the creational energy is not here right now, it's that the creational energy is being really utilized to create deep cellular turnover. And so if you feel like you've hit like a stagnation within your creative flow of ideas and physical, manifestation of creative, like, not to worry, not to concern, just allow, yourself to go deeper into the surrender and of the divine purpose of that. So as we get kind of brought out, and some people might feel like they've gotten spit out of this energetic system, and we head into September, that's going to come back online. There's, in the integration process, in that nesting process, if you will, there's going to be an opportunity to start physically participating and actively participating in maybe more of the doing of that creational energy. Things are going to open up pathways, the right people that you've been waiting for, the manifestation of the creational energy, when we're not in resistance of it and we're allowing it, is really going to show up in cool ways in September for us. And then as we enter into the last part of September, shocking, I know, right? Around the time of fall equinox, we're going to have another big shift and another big incoming, of these solar plasma frequencies to balance and harmonize many different systems within Gaia and within ourselves. And that brings us into a portal and an entry point to October. And what I will say of October is it's a potent system of potential once again. So August, potent. September, potent in its own way, but also a bit more grounding, nourishing, gives us a moment to sort of like, get our bearings, get things in place. And then everything that we've allowed ourselves to attune to and to, and surrender into and so forth within this big system of energies and September, then sets us up for how we're going to engage October's energy. And October's energy is masterful, is what I'm hearing. I'm a little nervous, excited and a little nervous at the same time. What I will say is to your kind of joking, but also to all of our knowing, the political sort of environment within the United States and other, in other countries as well. So some of the collectives will just say that, puppeteer a lot of the political agenda, et cetera, are going to attempt to take our focus outside of here and more here and to really kind of shake up the nervous system as they've gotten so good at doing. So the more we can just allow ourselves to sort of neutrally and curiously and sort of joyfully participate in, and witnessing what's going on without allowing ourselves to participate, in any of the fear propagandas and so forth, the more we're going to hold the field for humanity to find its way to the most exalted timeline of how that whole thing works out, right? So not to get gaslighted by that, and to really remain and cultivate and bring out our biggest and most helpful practices and tools and levels of participation, because October really is sort of like, I'm seeing, okay, and like a trampoline, really, or like more, no, it's not a trampoline, it's a springboard. And so how we choose to navigate and what, to what depth of mastery and potential we choose to access in October actually has a very significant relationship to how we're able to navigate all the way through into like the very, magnificent and hugely luminous gateway of 2027. So, so many other things, at play within that, but there's a big access point of perhaps, and it's never a one size fits all, but I'm seeing, when a statement like this comes in, is to say, it resonates with the critical mass of the human template, of the human collective. There's an opportunity to really access your highest and most exalted sort of timeline bundles, if you will, of participation within that October timeframe that really aligns you to continue accessing that through, into the 2027 gateway, which is a very big turning point for humanity, and maybe likened to some of the different, but likened to the level of participation and potency of like the harmonic convergence and some of these other big pivotal moments in the evolution of human consciousness. So it's not a casual year that we're in right now. It may be sort of shown that way, but it's not. And so, all the ways in which we can become more present and more peaceful and more joyful and more embodied are going to set us up for, what you had originally asked about, which is, how do we navigate these seas?
Wow. And just the information that you've just shared is like, it's so powerful. And so for me, it's basically showing that, okay, September is going to be intense, October is going to be intense, but in a different way, and opening up different timelines that are for our highest potential if we're choosing to and willing to participate with those energies and frequencies at that time. So for me, that sounds very promising. And for me, when I'm talking about, it's always about what's happening internally. I'm never really concerned with what's happening outside as much as what's happening within, with my own spiritual growth, with my own personal journey, with my own expansion, etc. Because the collective is a projection of all of us individuals, right? So how are we all growing and evolving and expanding, right? And so as we grow and evolve, expand ourselves, the collective is also growing, expanding, and evolving as well. So it really truly is important for us to focus on us, on our journey, on our path, as we continue to be aware of what is happening in the outer world. But and assist them as much as we can and as we're able with the collective and what's happening in the outer world. But it is about recognizing for us, where are we on our journey? Like, what is coming up for us at this time, and what needs our attention, what needs our even engagement and participation. And sometimes, like this month, perhaps is like that pregnant pause, and then as we go into September, there's, again, like you said, more creative potential energies coming in for us to create with, and then October, again, like a springboard for the future, right? But it does come back to us and what we are choosing, what our intentions are, what we're choosing for ourselves, for our families, communities, etc. But it starts with us. It always starts with us. And I think that sometimes we get distracted by what's happening in the outer world, and we get, off our center a little bit because we're focused on the outer, when we just really need to come back to the center of us, right?
Absolutely. And so what I will say to that is, allowing that sage wisdom, which is, we often, through the many layers of programming, have come to, to the conclusion that we as an individual, are very insignificant. But then when we span out our curiosity to explore all the individuals that have created massive shifts and changes and consciousness for humanity, what separates us from those individuals is our limiting beliefs, right? So each one of us showing up and in the way in which you've just so beautifully suggested and encouraged is absolutely has a profound impact on the collective consciousness and on on the trajectory of what humanity is capable and able to access in way of its potential. So that's a beautiful way, I think, to conclude that the energies of October is I'm not being shown the timelines of November, because it's how humanity chooses to show up and participate in October that will largely determine what point of access that we have within our collective potential, through the system of November.
Yeah. And so, again, it is about doing the work, right? So calling in those clarity codes, doing the work, being present, being aware, and then, how are you participating in life? How are you participating with those codes, with the awareness, with the presence? It's so important, and again, always from the heart. So now, I know, Brooklyn, that you wanted to do a short transmission as well. You wanted to gift us a short transmission, so I'm all excited about that. But and that is, going to help us with, as we're moving forward in this month of August, September, October, as well as the package that we talked about, the clarity codes, those 6 weeks. Can you imagine where we are now to 6 weeks, where we're going to be in September, and how that can really assist us in having, more clarity, of course, etc., but also clearing away all those patterns that, we suddenly, or because of the help of the clarity codes, are starting to become aware of, that have been hindering us in our growth, in our advancement, in our expansion of consciousness. So I'm excited about this transmission. I hope you are as well.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just going to unlock my front door for a moment so we don't get a knock from one of my children. I'll be right back, just to set us up for
no worries.
for some grace here.
Absolutely. So I would suggest everyone, if you can, just, have some water, right? So as we talked about before, with Brooklyn, she was talking about, even if you decide to purchase the package and work with the package, hydrate, right? So drink some water, so we can drink some water now before we're going to receive this transmission, so that it'll be more filled with ease and grace. Okay, so I have mine. Hopefully you all have yours.
Hey, yeah, love that you brought that in. Yeah, and the water that we bring into our space right now, we can connect to with the intention of the transmission, activating the water as well, and then further assisting us in our bodies in attuning to the codes that come through. So, okay, I'm going to take a sip of water myself.
Yes, of course. Why not?
Okay, here we go. So inviting everybody to get comfortable. Perhaps that's in a seated position for you, or you may find that lying down feels most nourishing and nurturing. Whatever it may be, giving yourself full permission to allow a deep and soft spaciousness within. And as you do so, as you find yourself melting into your seat or melting onto your couch or bed, taking a moment and connecting to your heart. Connecting to the heart, perhaps giving the heart full permission to open, to soften, to expand, to surrender, to trust in the deep connection as your highest source self becomes more and more present in this now moment, allowing all the thoughts to dissolve into the background and allowing ourselves to deepen into the depths of illumination within our infinite heart, within that beautiful and luminous heart. Perhaps taking a moment and getting really clear with your intention. What is it that I most desire to experience in my life here and now? What is it that I most desire to experience within this transmission? So taking a moment And perhaps creating a declaration that most attunes to that which you desire to experience as your reality. Bringing in a soft and nourishing inhale, perhaps inhaling through the nose, filling the belly, filling the lungs, filling the heart, exhaling through the mouth, letting it all go. And if you feel called to remain in the flow of that nourishing and full breath, knowing that it is assisting you in opening, expanding, and igniting your clear intentions. Simply receiving and relaxing, surrendering and allowing. As we now feel a radiant flow of immaculate diamond clarity, plasma clarity, pure source diamond light, flowing down and through and all around, clearing, cleansing, purifying, nourishing, strengthening, illuminating, clearing away any and all stagnant energy, clearing away everything and anything that's in direct duality to the highest expression of your joy, of your love, compassion, abundance, grace, of your highest expression of divinity here and now. We feel this radiant, immaculate clarity flowing down and through our entire bodies, all of our bodies, attuning us to a harmonized, peaceful, and balanced flow as a one unified field of creational energy, moving down and through, grounding us into our physical body. Feeling these diamond threads moving down and through, connecting us into the central crystal earth star core, the micro of the macro of the central sun of all creation, so that we feel held and balanced and harmonized, as above, so below, and all spaces between. Kwa alia puri niandrana, ush ala niandra mia sundra niandrana ya, kwala usundrani, undarue niandra ya, unaya ya, oh, 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 andaria brea na unaya andaya, oh, 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 ya na ya, oh, oh, flowing all around, further attuning us, opening the pathways, portals, meridians, and gateways within, clearing out all discordance, freeing us from all fear, releasing, letting go. I am free. I am free of all fear, illusion, and suffering. I am. I am free. I am free of all fear, illusion, suffering. I am. I am free. I am free of all fear, illusion, suffering. I am. Koriandra prai niandra yana yana yana. Koriandra ya sandra ina 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 ina. Oh, oh, ina una ina una. Prasaru sundrimia sandra naina. Oh, priya sandrini andra nandaya. Oh, ya praina ya ina. Kasu priya sundri naina. Oh, oh, oh. Bathing, receiving, feeling the radiance of immaculate freedom that flow through the diamond clarity codes, freeing us, creating the space, creating the grace, creating the joy within, letting go of the worry as we feel the radiance of diamond plasma flowing through and bringing in the divine harmonics of peace, showering down and through our nervous system. Karua sombreni anga undaya handai 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 o ya na ya o ne ya na ya allowing, feeling, as we feel the radiance of pure solar plasma light now, flowing down and through the immaculate flow of pure diamond source light. We feel the radiance of diamond plasma solar light flowing down and through. We feel it activating our hearts. We feel it opening our solar plexus, further attuning us to the immaculate clarity of who we are and why we're here, opening the clear pathways of remembrance, of revelation, of all that is meant to happen, to be, to take place within our own unique expression as source, in the seas of transformation that are flowing within and through and all around us, within and through and all around Gaia. The beacon of radiant clarity opens, ignites, and engages within, creating clear vision, creating clear knowing, creating clear remembrance, revelation. Quatale preniandraya naya naya o Presandraniandra Mainiandraya naya o Anaya qua presundreya naya naya o allowing now the radiance of Divine Mother Source, her radiant waters, her immaculate waters of clarity flowing down and through, opening our creational flow, opening the pathways, portals, meridians, and gateways within to ignite the unbridled, graceful flow of our highest creational potential, flowing down and through and all around, flowing up and through and all around, clearing all the pathways to our deepest, our clearest inner knowing, opening and allowing, opening and remembering, opening. I am all-knowing. I am all-knowing. I am all-knowing. I am accessing the field of the everything and the no thing, the 0 point, the access point to all-knowing, all-seeing, all-hearing. As the radiance of immaculate diamond clarity, as these radiant codes begin to activate your crystalline potential, allowing yourself now to come back into your heart center, allowing ourselves to come back into the full awareness, presence, and celebration of our physical hearts, of our physical bodies, and of our physical spaces all around us, perhaps our homes, our cars, our offices, perhaps the divine landscape of Sophia Gaia, Mother Earth, wherever we are right now, held and embraced within our physical experience, beginning to ground ourselves back into the full embrace, celebration, gratitude, and awareness of where we are, where we've chosen to be in this now moment. Grounding, rooting, we feel the radiance and support of Mother Earth assisting us, holding us, embracing us, and nourishing us, grounding us as we feel the radiance of immaculate clarity flowing down and through, further rooting us into deeper connection into the central crystal Earth star core of Gaia, where we are held, nourished, seen, loved, supported, held in the space, held in the grace of greater access to unity within all moments, within this now moment and within all now moments to come. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Taking our time, coming back into the full presence of this now moment as a community gathering of light when you feel guided and ready.
That was so powerful. Oh my goodness. I wish I could have lain down. To, to be honest, that would have been so amazing. I think I'm going to listen to this again while I'm lying down. But it was so, so beautiful, so powerful, as they're saying in the chat as well. Graceful, just amazing. There were times when I was like so deep into it, I could hear your words, but that was all I was able to just touch on and hang on to your words. That was powerful, and we'll be listening again for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, excellent. A lot was working down my back, felt like cold strings. Yeah, I was just like, oh, it was like restful for me. If you could say that, even it was restful. That's what I'm saying. I wish I was lying down because it was so. I needed that peace, and I needed that ease and that grace, and just was so in resonance with it. Thank you. Release some guilt. Awesome. Amazing. Thank you. That was so beautiful, uplifting, and I'm so grateful for this amazing space. So much love and appreciation. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, thank you. So definitely drink some water, and of course the water has also been uh activated and attuned to the frequencies to of this transmission as well. So definitely drink some water, okay? So you can continue working with these frequencies and this transmission. So calming, Chris says. Yeah, calming, soothing. And your voice was different this time than it was before. I noticed, Brooklyn. So that was amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's what happens when we clear out old programs.
Yeah, I almost fell asleep, Tanya said. Exactly. Yes, me too. I almost fell asleep, but that's why next time lie down. Because it is about receiving, right? Receiving and letting go at the same time, right? So that is so, so key and so important for us to just be willing to be present in the moment and just receive the energies and frequencies and at the same time let go of what no longer serves us. Just let go of what no longer is in resonance, especially with these frequencies. So that was so powerful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, what I would say is there was a very specific attunement to the nervous system, which is why I feel like everybody felt such a sense of peace and calm. So, yeah, that makes sense.
And of course, drink water, go outside, get some grounding, right? And listen to your body at the same time, right? So all of that is key. And then of course, that's why I was feeling it on my whole spine. Yeah. Working with the nervous system. Absolutely. So then, of course, if you'd like to work with Brooklyn more, you can definitely check out the package, do those as well, like not all at once, obviously, right? Be kind to your body and your nervous system, right? But just I would start with week one and then see where it leads you from there, and then take some space in between so that you can integrate. Oh,
Yeah.
I wish that could be broadcasted worldwide daily.
Oh,
Ah,
well, it can.
it's going to
It's
be on YouTube, so you know it's there. It will be there for people to access and listen to it every day, if they so
yeah.
choose.
Yeah, and also too, we anyone who wishes just to connect to the quantum field, to this moment that we all co-created here together. So just want to celebrate for a moment in gratitude everybody's participation in the cultivation of what we just experienced, right? It's a collective experience for certain. If we can always just attune to our hearts and to this moment and to the frequencies in which we all now have a resonance field for, and send that intention out into the quantum field for the collective. So we can beacon it out, essentially,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 4:44. Yes, it is. Thank you, Michelle, for that awareness. It definitely is 4:44. I love that. It's it is what it is. And so of course that message about having it being broadcast out to humanity, to the collective, we all have that opportunity. We all can participate with that. So please do, right? Just tune in and just send it out. So I love that. Thank you. Okay. Any last words of wisdom for us other than what you just so powerfully shared?
Just really grateful for this moment together, and really appreciative of everybody that felt called and in resonance to co-create together today. And yeah, just feeling a lot of love and gratitude. So thank you so much. And thank you, Shefali, for your beautiful presence and devotion. And love you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And this was, again, like I said, so powerful. I knew it was going to be so powerful today. But of course, like Brooklyn says, it's because of all of us, all of our presence, all of us choosing to be here, participating in this call and in the transmission. And it is our soul's choice to be here at this time, to be on these calls. It is our soul's choice. If we are willing to listen, then we will receive the wisdom of what our soul is wanting to hear and wanting for us to hear, right? So it's so powerful. But so thank you everybody for being here, for sharing with us, and for your questions and comments in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful for all of you. And of course, like I said, please do work with Brooklyn. The package again is there's a payment plan available. And of course, if you're an inner circle member, please use your gift code. And oh my goodness, today for sure, definitely take a break if you want, a little bit, a nap if you want, drink some water, go for a walk, whatever your body needs, just to help integrate these frequencies and this transmission even deeper. And of course, the water that we were drinking during the call, please do drink that as well. Okay, that's going to help you to continue to work with these codes. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone. We will be back tomorrow for the community call. So please stay tuned for that email. And then we'll be back on Thursday and Friday for other calls. It is a powerful week because of the Lionsgate portal, etc. So be gentle, be gentle with yourself. But at the same time, look forward to September and October and moving forward. So much is happening and so much is possible for all of us if we're willing to be present and choosing to participate with these energies and frequencies. Okay, so wonderful. Oh, Christina says, I highly recommend the Clarity Diamond Codes. I attended live and was, I'm going to say, speechless. Wonderful. Thank you, Christina. So there you go. Right. So thank you so much, everyone. And until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all so much love and blessings. I will have the recording out shortly. Please do watch or listen again and continue to receive. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now. Thank you so much, Brooklyn. So absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Love you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.